So what's a cat and a half? It's a trimaran, of course. But I think catamarans probably get 50 times the views that trimarans get on YouTube. So that would explain the title of this one. Let's see if more of you guys will tune into my try if I call her a cat and a half. Here we go, pulling out of Puerto Escondido. I need to stow my fuel. I'm leaving with about 23 gallons of gas for a 400-mile trip. There's not much wind, so I'm just going to get underway, get it on autopilot, the deck squared away, sail covers off, get into sailing mode. Thank you very much, Puerto Escondido mooring field. Ravenswing weathered a full-on hurricane. One boat broke free, a bunch of stuff got blown off, but all we had was that tear on the mainsail cover from it. Caught the solar panel. I didn't lift the boom up high enough. But otherwise, suffered actually zero damage through a hurricane. So we're very thankful. And now, heading up the sea. It's been a long day getting out of the Loreto Bay. Had to go over to the Carmo over there due to the wind angle. The Ponga's headed to Isla Coronados. So they make the run from Loreto out to the island and back for day trips. So we are following our prior tracks. There's a sandbar island right here. So the wind angle's working out. There's the point. There's a lighthouse right where I'm pointing. So motor sailing about 6.5, 7 knots. As you can see, the water is really flat here. A little bit of wind where it gets darker up there. There's a little wind puff right over here, but we're talking little puffs of just a few knots. So it's a quiet day. And the main's looking good. It's flying off the back, curly tailed tails. Not perfect, it's doing okay. But sails and motor together will get the boat 7 knots. Motor alone, it's more like 5.5 going into these waves. But it's going to be upwind most of the way, so tacking, probably going to push this trip closer to 400. And it's also kind of cold. It is maybe 70 degrees right now, but with a little bit of breeze, it's down in the lower 60s with wind chill. So I'll be putting on pants for the night and boots, bundling up. Man, it's like 5 time goes now. This must be, it's like the evening rush hour to get the guests off the island. There's sunset on day 1. The wind is dying, and the remnants of the big blow yesterday still in the water, making for some lumpy travel. So I think when it gets dark, I'm going to cut across these and go out into the sea, 90 degrees out from here, and go get some easting done. And I can sleep, there's just nothing out here. I'll turn on the radar, the AIS alarms. We're just going to head out here. Then tomorrow when it's daylight, I'll flop back over and keep heading up the sea. Interesting. Decide where we're going to go. Up the Sea of Cortez, past an island here, all the way up to the top of the screen. See, right now I'm kind of pointing at Tucson. I have to go that way. Okay, 321 nautical miles left to go. Hopefully we get some breeze to fill back in and we can turn that motor off. 2,100 hours. Off the beginning of Conception Bay, Isla San Ildefonso, cutting it kind of close. There's the island, but the pink is my radar overlaid on the chart, and I'm following right along the track when I came down this way. I am looking at the most amazing Milky Way filled sky because there's no moon yet. It's clear out. The sea's flattened out mostly. Okay, 24 hours in, we made it to Santa Rosalia. Didn't film going in, just pulled out. It's 1 o'clock, it's 2 hours in there. The gas, because I did use well over half of my allotment in the first 100 miles. Kind of overheated the engine, so we're going to take it easy and make this be a sailing trip so I can do a full oil change and service. And I'm pointing too high. Let's turn down. Stalled the boat. It's blowing like crazy up against the shore. See the white caps over there? Okay, 247 miles to go. No, not 100. Okay, it's 11 p.m. on night 2. This sucks. Going upwind at 8 knots. It's just pounding and choppy sea. Stressing out the driver, that's for sure. As you can see, I've gone most of the way across the sea. Turns out to be kind of a mistake. It's just choppy and crap over here. So I'm going to head back towards Baja again. Can't tack less than 100 degrees because the sea state's too bad on both sides. Too much of this, you might just go anchor up behind an island. It's going to be a long night. Okay, so Saturday after the gas stop in the afternoon, I sailed about 40 miles out, thinking, watching the big wind forecast, there'd be steady wind out in the middle of the sea. What I didn't factor was just how bad these seas would be. So it was bloody awful, and by 1 a.m. it was just so bad I could not find a point of sail where the boat wouldn't pound off of the waves. It just sounded like I was going to break everything, including my soul. I struck all the sails down and lashed the tiller straight and tried to sleep. And basically we just drifted back downwind south. I think I lost probably 15 miles. Had some gear issues to deal with, couldn't do it in the night. I had reef, but only first reef, should have done second, etc., etc.
So we spent Sunday morning sailing back over to the Baja coastline, staying within sort of 1 to 3 miles offshore. This trip is the second time I've sailed upwind against a Sea of Cortez northern blow, and both times I'm learning here that the sea state's just much easier to deal with, really close to that Baja shoreline. You get out in the middle of the sea and the short chop just magnifies and makes it really, really tough going, very difficult to point into it. So my learning is stay on that coastline.
Anchor's not secured well enough, even though I've got it tied twice. It's banging. Can't go up there. Big one. Okay, this creature bag is coming loose. I gotta go tie that down.
And get that anchor secured.
Okay, it's midnight between Sunday and Monday. We've been running through this channel between islands here, the Midriff Islands. It's a little nerve-wracking. So we're beating to weather. I want to get out. Go on the right side of this huge lagoon of the big island, but there's a series of islands in here. So we just did a big bear away between Salsa Puedes and Rasa. And zoom in this church and Navionics. It's deep water here. I guess it shouldn't be so nerve-wracking, but it's midnight. And a couple hours ago we had to go forward and unfortunately collect the bowsprit and bust the fitting at the base of it because I didn't put the halyard on the outer tip, and the bowsprit dug into waves and downward pressure broke the foot fitting. Sprit was dangling down, banging on the hull, and gathered all the whisker stays and everything. That was a mess. It'll be repairable. Have to make a new bracket. Autopilot. That's the pelagic, steering downwind, doing fine. Downwind sail right now. And 2 reefs in the main. Still windy out here. Just a couple miles to get through this little pass. Okay, Monday morning and through the night made it through the Midriff Islands, but it was fine. There's actually plenty of distance between the islands. Had a couple of failed tacks with the boat, slide backwards to get going again because there's some weird currents going on. But we've made it to Lagarda. This is the big long island in the North Sea of Cortez. Feature out in the sea. Whoa. Going out wide a few miles around this point. But in the distance you can see the actual head of the island. I need to get around the safe anchorage refugio around it. That's where I want to get here in the daylight. Sleep. Check the weather. If this thing settles down, this northern blow, I'll make my last 100-mile run for it early tomorrow. If it doesn't, I'm going to wait there until it does. It's not like the ocean where the swell is spread apart. I cracked off just enough. I'm riding over and I haven't pounded for a few minutes now. It's going fast. Beating the weather. Not sure if the camera's picking up all this spin drift. But just throwing spray in the sky hour after hour. Everything's soaked. Doing okay in the cabin, but so the F39 is a beast. Handling all this. The rig's doing great. Boat's a lot stronger than the human. Pelagic autopilot. It's back here doing its thing. 4 days now. Waves tore the cover off the dinghy motor. Was able to catch it on the lifeline. Everything's getting worked. And this is the daylight. Same thing at night. Okay, I've made it to the corner. It's a great big 90-degree turn on the Refugio Island. It's right there. Sailing well past it. So I'm super scared of the compression of wind and waves right off of these points. So the island goes straight back, and then that whole 20-mile shore is curving off to the west. And the safe harbor I'm looking for is around that last corner. I think I'll make my tack here and go get the shelter sort of close up to the shore there. Hopefully it'll calm down over there. I mean, this is bearable right now. I haven't pounded for a while. So there's the point. Big bend in the island. So I am 5 miles off of it. And the safe anchorage is up there where that red triangle is. And it is 10:30 in the morning. This is like a 30-mile trip. Should be able to get there by dark. Okay, that was a good ley line call. Just safely off the point, and you can see the bend. The wind is bending around the corner, so I'm able to climb up a little bit. Punta Rocosa on Isla Lagarda. Guardian Angel Island. That is dramatic. Wow.
And I went deep into that bay looking for a little bit of shelter, and sure enough the wind died down. Was able to get a nice lunch break. But once we stuck our nose back around the point, it was game back on. And the rest of that afternoon was short tacking up the Angel de la Garda northeast coast, just racing to get to the anchorage while there was some light in the sky. And the first of the Refugio anchorages is about 3 miles away from this point right here. And that's too far to make it in daylight, but we're going for it anyway.
Okay, we're doing 7.9. And Tuesday morning, farewell Guardian Angel Island. Yesterday's filming was all that coast over there. There's a long beat up against that thing. I did take anchorage in a sketchy spot. It's really designed for southern wind. This is a north wind. So it's kind of exposed, but it worked. Got through the night. A little edgy getting out of there this morning. So it's a 100-mile run from Guardian Angel to Puerto Penasco. Basically it's due north from here. Second reef in the main. Set up all conservative because it's forecast to gust 25 today, steady in the 15 to 20. In this bad sea state, I don't want to go fast. So if we go any faster, we take off, launch off the waves and come slamming down. But we're just quartering these enough, rolling it. I think I can get 80-90% of this trip done in this mellow mode. That would be great. I'll deal with short tack in the end. And of course bought way too much gas. But after that first day of only motoring, I was afraid it was going to be a mile motor trip. She's a good ship on the sea. Okay, I get weather forecasting by firing up the Iridium. It's connected to the Iridium satellite network. And then either on the computer. The little white dot's where the boat is right now. It's Penasco, about 60 miles out now. It's Loreto where we left this morning. Using the time sequence, you're watching the color. So the heaviest wind is it's not changing basically. Is it? Run that again. The red was 20 knots. This green is only 10. A little flurry in the afternoon, it's already coming on. So, I hoisted sail. Pull jibs back out. Took the second reef out. We're on first reef of the main. Look at that seagull playing around the top of the mast. Hey bird! So that's where we're going up there. The green line. Not quite making the ley line. It was looking better a few minutes ago. So every time we speed up, the boat heads up, which is what we want. What I'm hoping is the incoming tide tonight's going to lift me. So I'm going to stay on this tack as opposed to heading out and trying to get some more distance. I think this might actually make it with the evening lift. There we go. There's 7.5, 7.9, 8.4, 8.7. Good. It's picking up again. Better pay attention to fishing gear out here. I haven't seen a fishing boat in this whole trip though. The wind just destroyed my flagging tape. But I don't want to get soaking. Go out there and put fresh ones on. Last 60 miles. What a long trip to weather. At 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday. We're slowing down. 0.8 knots. The wind's going really light. 47 miles to go. The computer's thinking that's 9 hours, 10 hours. But I don't have a guest slip in Puerto Penasco, and the haul out's not till 1 p.m. tomorrow. So going slowly out here at night. It's not the worst thing in the world. Maybe I stay out on the sea through the night and pull in there at daylight hours and maybe illegally drop anchor or find a friend I could tie up next to. Sure been a solo trip. Last time I talked to somebody was the gas dock in Santa Rosalia on Saturday. Did cross paths with a boat. I saw the running light in the distance. That was it. See anybody Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday? But there's certainly been a lot of awesome looking sky. Plenty of time to think. night is coming. Time to turn on the radar. Volcano coming out of the sea. Day 5 is doing pretty good so far. I don't think there's many 40-foot cruising catamarans that would be doing 7 knots upwind in about a 10-knot breeze. At least not under, I don't know, $500,000. We may not have a big fancy bridge deck saloon, but we're scooting. Something to think about anyway.
And by about 11 p.m. that night, and 20 miles out, we ran into the Puerto Penasco shrimping fleet. We spent the entire night dodging around many dozen shrimp boats, just trying to stay out of their way.
And here we are on the 5th day, pulling into Puerto Penasco. We make your way through these anchored shrimp boats, and then it opens up into a big square, fully protected working harbor in there. Wait for my 1 o'clock appointment. It's 10 o'clock now, so 3 hours. Okay, I just looked at the log. It's a little over 600 miles traveled.
So the boat had to travel 600 miles to cover the 400-mile route because the zigzagging or tacking was pretty wide-angled due to the nasty sea state. That's the reality of beating upwind. And subtracting out the 2 stops, the math worked out to 4 full days of about 150 miles each.
Okay, safely landed in Puerto Penasco. And if this doesn't sum the whole trip up, I don't know what does. It stinks. I have 3 hours to sit here. My shoes will not be going down there again. I'm just going to sit on my boat. I'm going to wash my boat. I'm going to wash my dock lines, what I can reach. Dead cargo. This is what Puerto Penasco looks like, people. Working shrimp boat harbor. That's the fun.
Well, that was a tough trip. Proud to be earning the single-hander stripes, but don't want to repeat that anytime soon. Next time we'll haul her out and do some boat work. Thanks for watching.